Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenge of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and with Ryan off gallivanting around Cambridge, Harry Potter Wizard World that it looks like. It's just myself and Matthew. How you going, Matty?
I'm very good, mate. Good to be back on. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Just we've got Rona Roulette going at the moment. My little fella's got a case in his class, so just how many kids will get infected out of the 20 and whether we're one of them.
It's a fair chance we might be playing a bit of roulette in the next few days, actually. Kim and I were down at the Gold Coast Friday, Saturday night for a 40th birthday without the kids. So we stayed at the casino. So they went to the races yesterday, and let me tell you, in that casino it was jam-packed, no masks, and it's going to be, watch this space.
Where did you guys have it? Because you had the raging Rona back in January?
Yeah, so first week of Jan. So what's that? 4 or 5 months? 5 months now.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably about where your natural immunity, inverted commas, is meant to end, I think. But I don't know how much data on that.
Perfect.
Oh, you'll be right. You'll be right, mate. Living life at the casino.
Yeah, they owe me a bit of money, actually, so I have to go and see them.
The casino does? Wow, big win.
Took a bit away. Oh, we managed to snag the quaddie at the races for the main event for the 40th. So
very nice.
Donated it back. felt bad for them. So
do they have a Hungry Jack's there at the casino that you could just duck into on the way out, as is your old school way?
You know what? They are lacking in a few things, because on the first night, after a bit of a drinking session, it was about midnight, I went down to the casino floor just looking for some food and water. There was a 40-minute wait in the food court. So I went to someone and just said, is there a vending machine around here? And there was not a vending machine in sight. I couldn't get a bottle of water from anywhere. So I had to go to bed. And then last night we ordered some Uber Eats from McDonald's. I think it was about midnight as well. And it was a 40-minute wait. And you know how badly McDonald's does not hold its heat. Those chips, they were stone cold when they arrived. So 0 stars for Mr. Uber driver as he potted around the Gold Coast.
You still would have eaten them, though. You still would have eaten them.
Of course, yeah. Of course I did, yeah.
Love it. What else is going on up there, mate?
I thought we might have a chat tonight about just the chaos around extracurricular activities for kids. We've this year, our eldest daughter, Mia, had started, she's in grade 5, but she started grade 5 at a high school. And with that comes a whole range of different sort of extracurricular activities that she can undertake. And we've been pretty encouraging to her to try as many different things as she can. So coming from a primary school where there's not that much really outside of the classroom, to a place where there's a whole new world of different things she can try. So she's really jumped at the chance, and it now means that it's early drop-offs and late pickups for most of the week for the activities she's doing. And then there's the other 2 kids. So Sam, the youngest, does swimming once a week, and that's pretty much his activity. He's only 4 though. And then Eloise, who's 6, also does an activity as well on a Monday afternoon, Thursday afternoon. And now she's doing hockey on a Tuesday evening, 5 till 6. So it kind of means that most nights we've got a short window of getting dinner prepped, cooked, kids in the bath, and then to bed. We like to have the kids in bed by 7:30, around lights out around 7:30. So, and with every intention of getting to bed at 7 through reading time and a bit of downtime. The window is very small to organise. The dinners and everything else around that. And I just want to have a chat to you about that. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there listening with kids who probably are facing the same sort of thing, if not now, then when their kids get a little bit older, as they want to undertake activities outside of school. And we're just finding that the change and the fact that Kim and I have sort of both working longer hours at the moment as well. Just any hints and tips and tricks, and just to get some stuff organised.
I don't have any I've got no practical experience in this, because our little fella, we have to drag him kicking and screaming to do anything outside of just doing Lego at home. Like he started tennis and he's been twice. And the first week there was a few tears. Yesterday there was a few tears. So I have a lot of practical experience, but I actually randomly picked up a book about 8 weeks ago at the local library. I dropped the little fella off at school. I was going to pick him up, actually. I was going past the library and there's a book. I picked a couple of books, one about, carbon zero, and the other one is called The Family Firm. And it's basically a data-driven guide to better decision-making in the early school years by an economist at Brown University in the US. And effectively, basically, Emily Oster, the author, she's an economist, so she goes through a lot of different studies and a lot of different research and picks out, trends and any correlations between things. And so basically the book's called, The Family Firm, and it goes through a whole bunch of things like, how much sleep is necessary, the effect of sleep. The whole idea behind what she's writing is about creating the family toolbox, which is, a framework on how a family would make decisions about what's important to them. So if what's important to you is sitting down with the kids and having dinner at 6 p.m. every night and chatting about the day, then extracurricular activities, don't really fit into that. It's about deciding as a family what's important to you all, and then making your decisions so that you can, maintain whatever it is that you think is important to you. And there's, like she says in the book, I'm about halfway through it, there's no right or wrong answer because every family is different. And, you might be happy enough to do all these extracurricular activities and, dinner's a muesli bar on the way home before the kids get to bed at 8. There's no wrong decision, but just, having that framework in place to guide you to making sure you always have what's important to you as a family.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we haven't actually sat down and really discussed, why we are sort of making the choices we are making. We've sort of just been thrown into a situation where Mia has all these opportunities, and rather than say no or stop her from doing any of these, we are just sort of, not pushing, but sort of saying to her, look, just try and take on as much as you can, within reason, of course. And if there's something you want to try, then go for it. We're not going to stop her there. But and we always are asking her the question, like, you've transitioned from primary school to high school. Your days are much longer now. You're getting up, almost a good half an hour to 45 minutes potentially than what you were getting up prior to starting grade 5. At any point, if you, feel burnt out, just let us know, because we'll just, we'll pull back and, we'll sit down and decide what you want to continue doing and what you want to change. But maybe that's something we probably should sit down and have a conversation about.
Yeah, I guess your issue for you, having 3 kids, when, Eloise and Sammy get older, if they start doing the same amount of extracurricular as Mia is doing, then you got 3 times the activities. Like it's, multiplying things. I guess that at that point it would become hard. How do you transport 3 kids around?
Well, and especially if then we turn around and say to the other 2, oh, no, we're going to rein it in for everybody. Oh, but Mia had all these opportunities. Oh, then maybe we're shooting ourselves in our foot early. But it's a good point. Family Firm. It's
a good book. Like I said, I'm about halfway through it. The extracurricular activity bit, I'll pull a couple of bits out of now, just because I literally had the book in front of me. This is based on data and research, and again, being summarized by an economist at Brown University in the US, or Brown College. It says youth sports seem to have some small impacts on long-term sports participation, but no evident effects on being overweight or obesity. So basically sports has, some small impact on long-run sports participation. Like, pretty much everyone drops out of sport at the end of school, and doesn't actually affect any sort of long-term, weight stuff. There's no good evidence that there is no good evidence that learning to play musical instruments actually enhances brain function, which I found interesting. Participation in extracurricular activities does seem to deliver some socio-emotional benefits. This may be a result of an increased feeling of belonging, and your child does not need to engage in pre-professional levels of engagement in these activities to deliver these benefits. So just, going to little aths and just having a crack, as opposed to trying to run a PB every time you do something's enough. Like, it doesn't have to be a really massively structured thing to get the benefit out of it. You can get just as much benefit having a kick of the football with mates or something like that.
Yeah, that's very interesting, especially that one about music, because I'd heard stories or spoken to a lot of people about their children who they're doing piano at 6:30 in the morning, and their reasoning behind that was because when they get later in life, if they can learn to do a musical instrument. I don't know where they got their research from, but this is a bit different to what this lady was saying in the book, that it sort of helps them, I guess, manage their study, or allows their brain function to be a bit more switched on, perhaps.
No scientific evidence.
No scientific evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
They might be getting their research
Right.
from Google or Twitter, just like where everyone researches everything these days. But no, it's interesting. I thought the framework was really interesting, like family-based decisions where you actually work out what are some of the important things to you as a family, and then trying to maintain that by, I don't say limiting, but just making decisions based on these underlying things which are really important.
Yeah, and we've sort of when I say we haven't discussed it at all, Kim and I have sort of tinkered with the idea of, because as a typical sort of situation for us, we don't sort of all sit down together for dinner, as it is at the moment anyway, but we want to try and do that on Sunday nights. So Sundays without fail will always be a family dinner sitting down. And this stupid marathon I'm doing at the moment, really, Sundays is okay, but any other night during the week, I'm either going to the gym in the evening or I'm going out for a run. I have tried to do it a little bit later once the kids go to bed, but sometimes, it doesn't work out that way. But yeah, I mean, given the fact that we've got so much on during the week, we're going to really try and make Sunday the day where religiously we sit down for a dinner. And not throughout the rest of the week doesn't matter so much, because we figure that the kids are enjoying what they're doing, as long as they're happy. I mean, and like you said, I mean, getting the kids to even partake in an activity is hard. So once they find something that they really enjoy, it's great. Because we had a situation with Eloise, who just started hockey. When we first mentioned hockey to her, she's like, "No, I don't want to do that." And that's just typically the way she sort of operates. And it's until she picks up the hockey stick, has to go and sees that her friends are doing it as well, she loves it and she hasn't looked back. So
that's where we're at with our little fella. Like, he's like, he had a crack at nippers, hated that. Like, it was like, I don't want to go to nippers after about the second week. The tennising, it's like, he was making up excuses this week. And you can tell. I can tell straight away when he's not into it. Like, he gets sort of like just really unenthusiastic, like in a huff. Like, I know it's not anything apart from the fact you don't want to go to tennis. And when you get out there, you talk to the kids, you enjoy playing the games. Just that first 5 minutes of getting there in the first 5 minutes. Once he gets through that, he's good as gold. But I don't know if it's that nippers and tennis aren't his thing and he hasn't found his thing yet. It's just, but like, it's Saturday mornings, you're just like, oh man, it's just.
I reckon golf might be something he likes. That's something you're quite good at golf.
We took him to the driving range today. Actually, we've taken him a couple of times just to have a hit some balls and have a putt and stuff like that. It's just, I think golf's one of those things where maybe he just doesn't have the concentration for it yet, being young. Like the concentration of, okay, you hit the ball and you get to kind of, be quiet and be slow and stuff like that. Like, I think at some point he'll probably get into something like that. But
as he gets further along in his primary education, and his friends are sort of doing different sports and that kind of stuff, kicking footies at lunchtime and things like that. Then,
it's much like
the team sports will start to come into play.
It's much like you said with Mia. Like, our little fella goes to a school which is like a high school and a primary school combined. So you see some of the things, because we get a daily update of the raging Rona cases, which we can check in to see what years they're in. And so far, so good. There's only been a couple of cases in prep, which little fella's in. But you can see some of the stuff that people were in. Like, just reading from Thursday, there was a case who was in the Minecraft club and attended power strings. Another one who was, in the swimming squad and chamber choir. Another one who was in the theatre production, and somebody who's in the wind band and the science masterclass. Just all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, we didn't do anything like that when we were kids.
No. Our primary school had hardly anything. Even our high school was quite limited. But when I saw the list of activities,
outside of it's just insane. And multiple
And,
things, like people who've had orchestra band one night, played basketball, and then rehearsal the next morning, and then had the raging Rona the next day.
So you'll be going through this, not in in a year or a couple of years' time. There'll be when it all opens up to your little fella.
Yeah. Well, he's asked about. There's a couple of his kids in his class who go to the Lego. There's a Lego one, which is right up my little fella's alley. He loves a Lego. So there's like a Lego, like Lego Masters sort of thing. And he's asked about it. And we said, well, that one is during the day. So you'd actually miss your lunch time to go and do it. He's like, oh, I like playing outside too much, I think. So he's making decisions based on what he would like more. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's great. So he gets that opportunity to realize, okay, what do I, what's my opportunity cost here? Am I going to miss out on lunch and go and do that? But I mean, who knows? Next year you might sort of realize that, okay, it's only a lunch break. I can go and play Lego in my lunch break. Win-win.
Yeah. Well, he started asking about computer games now because a few of the kids are into Nintendo Switch and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is a slippery slope now.
I want him to play Fortnite next.
Oh, God. I've got him on the old console game. So we're playing like 1980s Rampage. He thinks that's the best. Like it's like Godzilla and King Kong smashing buildings. He thinks it's the best thing ever. Like it's like from the 80s, mate. Like it's, it's around when I was your age.
Start him off on games that you can win.
Yeah. Or at least I know how to play, where like he'll be like, well, how do you play this? I go, I think it's like this because I can vaguely remember it from when I was little. Where if he goes, how do you play Fortnite or, Minecraft? I'm like, would not have a clue. I think the upshot is there's no right or wrong answer. And this is just whatever's good, whatever's right for your family. And like, if you're getting the kids to bed at 7:30 still, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think we just need to maybe work backwards of when we want them to be in bed and then work from there. One of the only saving graces we've sort of come across is, and I never really realised they do this, but Woolworths and Coles do, you can pick up like a little tub of mashed potato that serves 4 microwave steamed vegetables and, a shepherd's pie, and all for like $20, $25. And I've come across those recently. So we've been smashing those, especially on our long days where we're getting home at like 6 o'clock. It's really easy just to smack that in the oven for 15, 20 minutes, microwave a couple of veggies. And I guess it's a better alternative than some Donald's or something like that. And you're still getting a bit of a relatively healthy meal.
Sometimes better than cooking. Tonight I made souvlaki's at home, which I thought were great, but
Nice.
my wife's gluten intolerant. So she hadn't gone to buy her wraps, so she had no bread. So I just made some bread out of yogurt and flour and a bit of water and oil. I thought they tasted all right. They folded, like it was gluten-free, and they folded up without ripping, and they tasted okay. But little fella, did Daddy make them? Yeah. Oh, I could tell because they are just not very good compared to normal bread. Like, mate, that's just... I only made them because your mum had no bread. So yeah, sometimes
some slack.
Yeah, sometimes the option of just picking up some mashed potato from Woolies it might be a bit easier.
Absolutely. I can't believe you made wraps. It's fantastic.
Oh,
Is there anything you can't do in the kitchen?
No, plenty of things, but you can't have a hand souvlaki, can you? Unless it's 3 a.m. at the front of Retro in Melbourne.
They call that a naked souvlaki when they
I think so.
Like that.
It's carb free, keto friendly.
Carb free. Yeah. Nice, mate. I'm impressed.
Mate, I think that's a great place to wrap it up for this week. Remember, subscribe to Dad Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't done already. Or while you're there, please leave a review. Also, tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with another episode, or should I say, serving of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.